Culturally Responsive Teaching by Raquel Hamori and Nicolette Sandoval. We both identify as Mexicana and grew up in suburban neighborhoods. We are not the first to attend college in our families, but we are the first to graduate from a four-year university. We both grew up very family-oriented. Every holiday and birthday was celebrated with our families. However, whenever we upset our families, they would tell us stories about how La Llorona was going to come take us away and we'd never see them again. And this terrified us when we were little.
After identifying similarities in our cultural frame of reference, we also came across some differences. For example, I am a second generation and Nicolette is a third generation. We also share differences in income. Nicolette identified as low income and I identified as middle income. Focusing a little on traditions, we realized that we participate in many of the same traditions, but there was one difference. My family started a new tradition. About 7 years ago, my second cousin, who has connections with baseball and softball teams, coordinated a softball game where the whole family was separated into two teams and we played against each other. The game was initially intended to be a one-time thing, but my family really enjoyed it, so we made it a tradition. Now, on every 4th of July, the entire family comes together to play, and then we celebrate after with a barbecue at my cousin's house. Transitioning into cultural aperture, my focus student is DJ. In my current placement, when I would teach a lesson, there was a student who would move around a lot. He would also talk to those around him. This caused some distractions, and quite frankly, it disrupted my entire lesson. Before I even learned about this assignment, I took the initiative to find a solution. I began to purposefully learn more about the student, and during the time I took to learn more about him, I realized he would get off task because he would get bored. DJ performs at a higher grade level and needed support in that area. From then on, I began to change my lessons and gave DJ classroom jobs which expected some accountability. DJ really likes knowing his purpose, which is why these strategies worked out so well. On top of the strategies I mentioned before, I also just got to know DJ as a person. I learned about what he liked and what he didn't like. I would make time to learn more about him by using the 2 for 10 strategy. But I'll be honest, I've done it for more than 10 days, and I'll continue doing it. Overall, the student reacted positively to the strategies I tried implementing.
CD is a 6-year-old kindergartner with an IEP for speech. He is strongly suspected of having autism by my guide teacher, other kinder teachers, as well as administration due to lack of social cues and odd behaviors. Although his IEP is for speech, his goals are all social, including maintaining eye contact when talking with peers and teachers, as well as spatial awareness. CD does not follow directions and repeatedly ignores teachers and administration. Because of his lack of social cues, he upsets other students by following them around, pushing his way through them, and sitting too close to other students on the carpet. On the day that this was recorded, he stole a student's milk at lunch and drank it in front of her and then threw it away. When my guide teacher told his parents, they said, and have repeatedly said in the past, that is just who he is. Some of our key triggers include certainty, which is embarrassing oneself, and connection, being excluded and seen as an outsider. For Nicolette specifically, she is afraid of being expelled from the tribe. After beginning this project, I noticed, based on my report interaction tracking sheet, that my interactions with CD were more neutral or negative and hardly ever positive. I did my best to praise what he did right, even if it was just holding scissors properly. Raquel recommended the 2 for 10 strategy. The 2 for 10 strategy is where I would spend 2 minutes a day talking with CD for 10 days. This was to see if maybe his behavior would improve or if perhaps some of his acting out would stop.
Based on my interactions, towards the beginning of the year, I experienced negative to neutral interactions. The student would not listen and would continue with the same behavior. After modifying, accommodating, and building a relationship with DJ using the 2 for 10 strategy, I began to experience positive interactions, and I have ever since. Reflecting on both of our interactions, Similarly, we both had negative to neutral interactions with the students at some point, and we both tried using the 2 for 10 strategy to build a relationship with our student. Looking at the differences, we didn't experience the same outcome. Although we tried the same strategy, we experienced different results.
Raquel and Nicolette both grew up being taught by our parents that we must respect adults, and this includes our teachers. We needed to do what they say, follow our classroom rules, not talk back, and do our work. While DJ identifies as Mexican, we are unaware if he grew up with the same ideology. CD is of European descent, and based on previous conversation with parents that Nicolette's guy teacher has had, it is apparent that they let him do as he pleases at home. I personally have seen interactions with CD and his father, and it is very obvious CD is used to getting his way.
Towards the beginning, there were many days I felt frustrated. I would drive home feeling like I failed a lot of the times. But the trick for me was to not stay in that mindset. We have to get back up and try again, no matter how many times we fail. That is what a culturally responsive teacher looks like. We have to take time to learn about who our students are, because that's the only way we can reach them. Everyone has a story, so listen and let your students tell it.
I found myself getting frequently frustrated with CD, even when he seemingly would do nothing wrong to others or himself. For example, he would be spacing out when I would be giving directions, looking around the classroom, and I would become immediately irritated. I felt the energy of other teachers toward him rub off on me, so I did my best to change that energy when I interacted with him. Without culturally responsive teaching, the classroom can become a negative environment for the focus student as well as the rest of the class. Nicolette attempted the 2 for 20 per the recommendation of Raquel. Unfortunately, an improvement of behavior was not seen. However, my attitude towards CD did improve, and I did my best to avoid scenarios where he may upset other students. For example, I sat him just a little further away from students so he wouldn't be sitting directly on their legs when meeting around the carpet. And if you spaced out during this video, don't worry, there is a too long didn't read version. Just know that children have different upbringings than you do. Be aware of negative attitudes towards students from other teachers and administration, and most importantly, be kind.